Oh, yeah, I forgot this. I have to interact with it for it to continue. Oh, I forgot it doesn't do anything. I said, okay. I'm surprised I haven't really heard any other people complain about like the default inputs in this game, or rather the only real existing inputs. I think it's interesting that people don't. Of all the things people don't complain about,
See that one?
it's
Need me to do some
the
trimming?
fact that there's no real like good uh like custom inputs. I feel like that should be something that more people complain about, but don't. It's just odd for some reason. It's odd to me at least. It says good stuff listen close or look closely. It's probably there was probably a chest in here I grabbed at some point. Weirdly enough, one thing I saw people complain about a lot was actually Shiranite. Which wait, did I miss a chest inside there? Am I blind? Oh, I am. It was always covered during this specific angles I was looking at. That's unfortunate. I could have not used one of those. Would have been nice. Alright, we should probably be buying more. Actually, do I need to buy any more? I don't remember. I'll check later. Yeah, that was one of the things. The sheer night in the game in Wuling was a thing I saw a surprising amount of people complain about, and it confused me quite a bit. It took me a bit to like understand what exactly was the problem for most people, and what I learned was, wow, it is not a lack of Shiranite problem. It is a people not understanding how to not do everything at once problem. For some reason, they all wanted to like. Oh, I forgot I was going to exit this way. But for some reason, people really wanted to like have every possible object going at once. I feel like that was kind of odd. The game is obviously not supposed to like. You're not supposed to do that. And the funny thing was is that the problem was definitely, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, the fact that people kept trying to produce more component or what are they called again? Stop. It was the uh, it was the fact that they were kept trying to produce the what are they called again? Why can't I remember? Is it component? I think it is component. The sheer night components. And I was like, you don't really need that many. And I only realized later what specifically people were having an issue with the sheer night components was, which was that people were just trying to make them like at full capacity constantly 24/7.
Something
No, you
dangerous is
either
ahead.
do them in batches
Better be
or you
fully
don't do them at
prepared.
all.
Melting flame.
You either do them in batches or you do them in very small amounts, bit by bit.
Melting.
And for some reason, people were just insistent on doing it all the time. It's very odd.
Ooh, back to my old game, huh? We'll see this
Okay.
through.
Wait. And I think it came down to the fact that people put too much of an emphasis on using it or on doing the what's it called again? It's not engraving. That's not what I'm looking for. Artificing. And the thing about artificing is that you get more use out of actually putting your time into
I
skill
see that one.
development
Need me to do some trimming?
than you do out of artificing in any capacity. Because the problem with artificing is that it gives you stat increases, yes, but there's like very small stat increases. Like the stat increases are so ridiculously tiny, like it's just insane. Not to mention that increasing the stats of certain items tends to be actually pretty difficult. In fact, I started doing a thing. If I go to,
Turn up the heat.
I started doing a thing. If I can get to it, where you see here, I have like 50 of each of these because you need to have an item with a higher main stat than the one you're trying to increase. Unfortunately, this doesn't work super well for uh, like random stat increases, and it still doesn't let you do the max ones, but because it only will work on this will only work on kits. I'll have to start doing this stuff if I want to do these two. Would be for the obviously the like gloves, and this one would be for the all of the armors. But like the artifact system in general has a lot of jank in it that needs to be fixed, and also just the fact that it's just usually not that worth it. And again, you can get way more than enough uh, components than what you need. Am I looking for one right now? No, I don't have any up here right now. Oh my god. Like the overall difference is just not there. It's not that big of a thing to worry about. Not to mention that if you are already at the point where you're worrying about artificing, either you have literally no life to this game to an insane degree, or 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 or, or you have like a bunch of other characters you should be doing. Like if you are at the artificing point, then you probably just should go start building other characters. It'll be a significantly more worth it amount of your time. And again, these stat increases are negligible. If I got
I
some
hate
characters that have
fools
had
who
like
like
really good artificing luck
Originium will carve a
that I
path
have
for
actually
us.
done on a little bit of, um, you can see like here it's 35 and 11.4. And it's like you can see here. Like look at this. This is one that's had one artificing and it's 35. This one had two, 38. Three. You got three wills from that. The amount of difference is virtually non-existent. It is genuinely so much more worth your time to fix the other stuff.
I hate
Once I
fools who
finish
like to
doing this
micromanage.
stuff, I'm still working on
Thank
getting the
goodness you're not one
weapons
of
for the
them.
characters leveled up. I still have to finish the Curi's weapon. I have to finish. I need to completely redo this weapon because I only just got it, and that's actually it of the characters I'm using. Is Floyd's weapon next? No, it's not. I just passed it apparently. Like these two are the main weapons I actually have to finish doing, and then I have to do the weapon that Shaihi has because I only just got this weapon. And then once I'm done with the weapons, I will completely finish uh, like the stuff here. Actually, no, I can't do that yet. First, I'll be working on E4. That's the thing I need to do. I need to get to E4 for all these characters, and then after that, I'll be focusing on the weapons again, and then I'll focus on character level, and then I'll go do the rest of this stuff to get these masteried,
Distract them,
and then
disable them, or just destroy them.
oof, detergent. And then after that, I will be working on essences. Actually, we'll work on getting essences because I haven't done that at all. And then only after that will I find it worth it to do the other stuff. But before I even do artifacting, I'll probably
I hate
finish all of
fools.
that said stuff for the rest of the characters I haven't built.
Oh,
Chen, Snowshine, Wolfguard, Last Right, Devon, Depen, Antal,
I
Stella,
believe. What a
Catcher,
beauty!
Elesh, and Tong Tong all need upgrades. I just want to focus on the weapon. Do this thing because I
this
have it now.
piece handles great. My aim to save is sharper now.
Yeah, it's odd.
Do But you must, Professor.
People focused
I'll do
so much on
everything I
that, and they were like complaining about the Shironite. We did get more Shironite. We were always going to get more Shironite. You just had to be patient. Like, there's no
can
way
to
you
help.
have more than like 10 characters maxed out to where you'll need to be worrying about artifacts that much by this point in the game. We're only the second version in. Not to mention, you've definitely not actually fully completed all of the game's like actual content yet, while also actually like paying attention to the content itself. Talk about it. What specifically? I think it's yeah, I think so, yeah, I'll have one. Okay. But yeah, it's an odd little bit of things I've noticed, stuff like that. But yeah, Sheer Knight was never that much of an issue even with that. Because all you had to do is like, turn off your battery production for a bit and then use like all the batteries you had at once. Or, and then just only working on the modules while you were doing that. Components, modules specifically. Modules, I think it's not yet at least. I do feel like they could add them. They're really cool. It was a nice little thing where you had to like choose one of the things for your character. You couldn't just have every character be the same. Sorry, I'm moving because I have like I'm sitting at that angle, or like rather turning at that angle. Yeah. Left side is getting sore. Okay, that's much better. Um, it was nice to be able to choose like what you wanted. Like you could only choose one at a time. I think that was cool. It was one of the few things in the original Arknights that had like variants in sets between like individual Pearson's character builds, was that you could have like one of 3 modules on a lot of characters. Not every character had multiple, but many did. And some people might not even want to use those at all because of the differences they cause. Where is this one?
The end buggers.
Well, it's under this, so I imagine I do have to get inside of this. I just don't remember how to do that. How do you get inside this? Do you have to start from underneath?
Maybe I got something in my tubes.
It's just in that room. I feel like you can't. You should be. I feel like you should be able to get in this from here, from up here. It's just not quite enough. Unfortunately, no infinite height. Pretty sure that got patched. I never got to use it. So close. There's definitely a way to like cheat your way into here. They might have put actual like invisible stuff in. Oh no, there is an entrance right over here. I don't really go down here anymore, so like I haven't gone down there in a while, so I just forgot. Grab this second one. Ooh, no top or bottom row. Oh, so I just need to create a block. Yeah, just that. I saw a chest for a second. I was like, chest I missed? Oh. I remember when we did this like area. Oh, I know what this area is. I just completely missed. When I was down here before looking for stuff, or looking for specific enemies, I completely didn't realize that there was a way out back here. Huh. Okay, the rest of them are probably down here as well. There should be, yeah, the last one. It's right over here. Wait. No, right up there. You can go ahead. Yeah, there is one other thing I've noticed about people, the differences between me and other players. This is most, I think, probably most notable in Genshin in particular, or at least that's where I've seen it the most. And that is, uh, just give, no, I forget forgetting that the permanent energy of Luviums don't actually give, um, whatever it's called, uh, or geometry, but the temporary ones do, which really enough don't show up as chests. I had to go find the rest of those manually. That's not a big issue. Yeah, now we're done with the original science part. But it's in particular, it's the fact that people often group certain characters together as being the exact same as each other and just saying they're worse versions of others, even if those characters have completely different like overall like effects and stuff. And I find it very odd that people do that so often. I think the most notable is that people, for some reason, in Genshin in particular, people have completely grouped together the like entire existence of anime characters. That's why the first. That's one of the reasons why when I do get to the Genshin like character series where I go by element and go through each element as well as all the characters in it, what the elements mean, and whatnot. At least what my interpretation of their meaning is, as well as talking about characters both in their canon and story states as well as their like actual gameplay stuff. That's one of the reasons why Hanema's gonna be the first one because for some reason there's three characters in particular I like to point out that people do, but there's actually more. Since this is like 1.x like set of characters, there's obviously been a bunch of Anima characters since then, but these three in particular tend to get compared a lot together as like being the same but stronger versions of each other, even if they do completely different things. In some cases, like straight up misinformation about what some characters do. And I think the most notable these three characters are Sucrose, Venti, and Kazuha. And it annoys me to no end when people compare these characters as being the same. They do three completely different things. And it annoys me to no end when people talk about them. So what I should note is this is what Sucrose does. Sucrose is an EM bot. Her entire existence is to just give you a shit ton of EM, and that's pretty much it. She does the scroll stuff as well, but we're not considering VV into this. VV is a universal thing that does not actually count towards that, but VV is not going to be counted when I'm talking about these three characters because it's an external buff. But what Sucrose does is Sucrose will swirl an element, and then every character of that element that she swirled will get an EM buff based on her EM, based on her EM stat, and that's it. She does now do an extra little bit of like small damage buffing when she's in a Hexarray Bright Party team or whatever. I haven't actually done any of the Hexarray stuff, even though I own Varka. I just haven't felt like doing it yet because I'm pretty sure they're all they're like little mini stories, so I'm gonna wait to do that. But yeah, that's what she does, and the reason, and what this specifically does, is it helps a lot with actual EM based reactions. Granted, it does still help with amplicative reactions that actually amplify specific instances of damage, but it more helps with transformative reactions, the stuff that exclusively scales on EM, or stuff that exclusively scales primarily on EM, like the lunar. I have to say that because the lunar reactions are a little bit weirder, since they do actually like they are the separate like transformative damage, but they can also crit now, so it does also it's weird. But anyway, that type of stuff is where um, uh, is what she's useful for. She can't help at all in mono damage teams. Like for example, if you put her in a team that's just her and then like say three pyro characters or something like that, she is a lot less useful because she can only help with elemental reactions explicitly. Kazuha gives primarily just a damage bonus, not an EM bonus or anything like that. He doesn't give EM at all. He gives a damage bonus of the element he swirls, which is different because it only affects direct damage. I don't believe it affects most reaction damage, except for like the specific ones. Primarily, like the only reactions he really helps with, and does much more help for than Sucrose would do, which is like uh, melt and vaporize, as well as aggravate. But aggravate and spread are both like kind of helped by either way because it's applicative, but it also is partially transformative because of how it specifically calculates the damage amplification. It's a weird reaction. Um, Anything Dendro related is complicated as hell to like fully figure out and understand how it works. It took me a long time to realize why Bloom was so widespread in usage, because I only later realized that there can only be a certain amount of Dendro cores in the field, and if another one is created, it will destroy the previous one, but it will make it forcefully explode, which means you can just constantly make it explode over and over again by constantly creating new cores, which I didn't realize was how it worked before. I genuinely thought it just got snapped out of existence. I didn't realize it exploded to disappear. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, that's what Kazuha does. Kazuha does technically scale on EM, despite the fact that his damage bonus is flat, because he can give an extra damage bonus based on his EM. It's a really small amount. It's really harsh scaling, but he does give a small amount extra. Very similar to how it's similar scaling to how the more ER Raiden Shogun has, she gets a bigger electro damage bonus. It's that type of thing. Anyone can look up, as long as even if you don't have the character, you can look at the scaling numbers of the character if you want to, as long as you're on the game. And then there's a third final character that I find is really interesting that people compare to those two, and that of course is Venti. Why do people compare Venti to those two? Venti's not a support character. Venti is explicitly a sub DPS or main DPS. His entire kit is just dealing damage. I don't see where I think people just got so used to VV being shoved into every animal character in existence that people forgot that Venti does not have any buffing in his kit at all. The only buffing you can find is like his C2 and his C6, which give explicitly physical and animo damage bonuses, and that's it. Like he has the only thing in his kit that is at all support related is that after his ult ends, whatever hit for both animo and whatever element he absorbed gets a small amount of like energy back afterwards. That's it. That is literally his only supportive thing in his entire kit. I'm serious. Go look through his kit and read through and see if you can find any other buffing in his entire kit. The only reason people consider him a support character is because they throw VV on him and assume, yes, that must be what he does. They confuse VV with his own kit. He works completely different. His two things that he's supposed to do is deal damage and pull characters into a small space. That is his entire gimmick. He is not a freaking support character. He's not a buffer. He doesn't give buffs. It's wild that people think he does. It is just the most hilarious thing to me. That people have just completely mischaracterized his entire gimmick. It's so odd. On top of that, every other animo character that's been introduced since then has usually gotten compared to those characters as well. And again, they usually do completely different things anyways. The only one I can come up with at the top of my head, because I'm not going to bother trying to think of every animo... Actually, there are two I can think of. Those were Aoife and... Oh, like there's three. Aoife, Yehoda, and Lanyan. Aoife does EM, but that's because he's not a support character, he's a healer. He does completely different things again. And then you have Lanyan. Lanyan is a shielder and sub DPS. She's not really meant to do support stuff, she can, but that's mostly secondary. I largely use her personally as a shield and uh, burst damage dealer because she's really good at doing burst damage. I swear. Yehoda I haven't gotten the chance to actually use yet because she was released after I started my massive thing of going through every character I own and building them. But I only build like I'm building a large set. Some characters were left undone, mostly just because I didn't want to fight the bosses related to them. People like Yunjin and Nico, and then every character that's been released afterwards I haven't touched yet either. Or the characters that I've gotten afterwards. Except for Varka, who I immediately built because he's the fucking best character in the game, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. He is the most fun character to play, and he's the most versatile too. You can use him with 4 completely different overall team setups, and it's awesome. I love him so much. But that's again for that video. I'm going to talk about him a lot. He is the ultimate idea of what the animal element should be, and I love him. But I'm back on topic. Yehoda is meant to be a healer, and she's a specific variant of crowd control. I like to call the corraller. And there's one other character I can think of that is a corraller, and that, of course, or actually two, more or less. Technically the second one, but only if you have her C1. And those are Yelan and the C1 gene. I think it's her C1, where she can pull enemies together stronger when she's by herself. But anyways, they don't just crowd control and bring characters together, but they specifically move them in a particular direction. And I haven't gotten a chance to really use Yoda, but from what I know, she has a dash that she continuously pulls enemies towards her. So she's a corraller similar to Yelan. And she's a healer, which is also, again, completely different. Again, you can use her with Vivi. I probably will as well, but that's just because I was farming a shit ton of Vivi anyway, so I had a bunch extra, so I just threw them on the other animal characters. But you don't have to. I'm probably going to change those sets around eventually when I get back to those sets of characters. But yeah, those characters are completely different. So I find it interesting when people do it, when people put certain characters together that really don't need to be. I could probably go into a bunch of other characters. It kind of reminds me as well, when Flynn's was coming out, people were saying, people were saying specifically he's an Electro Hu Tao. He plays very differently from Hu Tao, by the way. The only thing he has in common is, like many other characters, he presses his skill and he goes into an infusion state. That's it. The only similarity. It's what? It's completely different. That doesn't make him a Hu Tao just because he's also a fucking polearm user. He's more akin to, who's the character I'm thinking of? There's another character in the game who has a special. Oh yeah, Varessa. He's more similar to Varessa than he is Hu Tao, which is that he has a non-cinematic animation ultimate that you can use during his overall gameplay. That is not as strong as the pure ult, but is very usable in battle, much more than normal. In a lot of cases, but he has no HP manipulation of any kind. His ultimate is far more off. He far more does ultimate damage than Hu Tao does, because Hu Tao mostly does hers for survivability and just damage at in a single instant. It's especially hard if you're like me and you run her with Shimenawa to use it consistently anyways. But meanwhile, Flynn's, you're constantly throwing your ult around, so yeah, I find it funny when people compare certain characters to each other as if they're the same at all. I think there's another thing. Ooh, I'm talking too much today. Which is comparing. When people were comparing Mualani to Nervalette when she came out, and Mualani is very distinctly a burst damage dealer as opposed to Nervalette's constant damage. And I also found it funny because people were really confused that Mualani wasn't stronger than Nervalette, and I'm like, that is another thing. Why do people assume a new character has to be stronger than like every other old character? Huh? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. That's one of the more confusing things to me is when new characters they think have to be stronger than the old ones. It's really weird, and it's what creates some of my least favorite characters from Genshin. Um, Malwika in particular is probably one of my single least favorite characters in Genshin of all time. I like her character; she's pretty cool, but her like damage numbers and actual like, usability in game is absolutely fucking bonkers. Her ultimate is like the scaling on it is fucking insane. Even at level 1, which means you're also at a level 1 talent, she can easily hit billions of damage no problem. I don't know what the limit or what the highest number ever hit is in game, but I'm very certain it was done by Mawika more than any other character. And I don't like it. The fact that she can easily do it because of melt as well is just insane. Not to mention she was released alongside one of the best melt characters in the game, that being Silali. I love Silali. I did try to get her when she came out, but it was no luck. And I'm not super big on getting her right now. I don't care much for her gameplay. I mostly just like her design. I think she looks great. But yes, I don't think that's happening for a while. I got other characters I want to get. I want to get Sendrone. I can't wait for her. I'm hoping she is going to be. I'm hoping she is Geo Melee Catalyst. It would make the most sense, and I hope you do actually get to use Polonia for most stuff. I don't think she would be the one doing stuff. I'm very certain that you would be like she's riding on top of Polonia doing stuff. Imagine it would be like you use her skill, and then she gets on top of Polonia for a while, and then you just start punching around and stuff. And I think that would be cool if that is what it is, but I'm not entirely sure. Hoyo has... Where did Flora go? Oh, she's just standing over there. Like, the Genshin is... Or, sorry, Hoyo in general, not just Genshin, has had issues where some characters have been given kits that are just very odd. Especially when it seems like they should be doing one particular thing. My most notable one is definitely Seed. She's very, She's a character you can play. She's kind of boring overall. Her impact doesn't feel very great because the movement's very odd. She feels a lot like Grace in that respect. Yeah, I think I've been rambling on too long. Most of this stuff should probably be saved for when I go start talking about characters in those videos and stuff. So that's a future thing. I'm mostly just rambling about stuff that most people probably won't care to listen to.